back. Phil, I wanted to ask you, I mean, have you heard anything about this merger of these two companies, Trulia and Zillow?
A little bit.
Okay, there's been a few words or sentences printed online. Hashtag Zulia, does that mean anything to you?
Yes.
That's
Trillo, right?
Trillo, I didn't hear that one. Now, there's been much consternation, gnashing of teeth, and wringing of hands over this apocalyptic event. What do you think?
I think that people will continue to log on to Zillow and Trulia to look for homes as well as broker sites. And I don't believe it will change the landscape much any differently than it is right now. Is that a sentence? But I don't think it's going to be a disruptive game changer, certainly in the short run and not in the long run. I think the trends are what they are, and whatever the corporate ownership is going to be what it is. But they're going to continue to operate as two separate brands. And I would say it's going to be more like this. I would say that Zillow and Trulia are going to be like Buick and Oldsmobile, and that they operate under, say, the GM nameplate.
Right.
Exactly. So a corporate ownership of two different nameplates, and people will either drive a Buick or drive an Oldsmobile or drive a Ford or drive a
You're dating
Mercury.
yourself because there's no more old, but yeah, there were.
It's not your father's Trulia, I guess, is out then,
Or
right?
Pontiac.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's exciting. It also means that the horse is out of the barn door. There's no more information in your place. I mean, to me, my thought is, why not seed that home search to websites? Why not give the most mindless aspect of representing someone to a third-party source? Why not really concentrate your efforts on giving value and giving negotiation power and strength and getting them the best home for the best buck?
Okay, so yes. So the data is the booby prize. Okay, so you have, I can print out a list of properties for sale, all right? There you
Now
go.
what?
Now what? What are you going to do? You could say the same thing to someone who's a for sale by owner. Okay, here you put yourself on all these websites. Good luck, go get them. Now, the first thing they're going to probably wonder if they have a brain is, gee, what questions am I going to ask the buyer? What do I do? Again, this is the largest financial event of most people's lives, and the increments between its occurrence are significantly long, with many changes in between in industry practices. So take somebody who's 60 years old looking at downsizing an empty nester, okay? The last time they bought a house was maybe 25 years ago, all right? And this was when, we almost had freely assumable mortgages, and, there were still rotary phones in some people's houses, and things were different. And the last time they bought a house prior to that, it was maybe like, the 70s. So things change. So this is not something that occurs very often. The amount of money involved on median price in Westchester, say $600,000 to $650,000, future value of money being what it is, especially if you're a buyer with interest over 30 years, that is 7 figures. Why would you make that a do-it-yourself project? I mean, a go-kart, a hovercraft like in the back of the comic books, that's a good do-it-yourself project. But the largest financial event of your life as a do-it-yourself project is really kind of not advisable. So the fact that you can find lists of properties online does not mean that you're going to have a stress-free process. You still have to deal with title issues, you still have to deal with inspection, you still have to negotiate for the right price. You're going to have to deal with in the state of New York, typically a 60-day process where even the Bar Association will tell you should have a lawyer. Right? So you should have a lawyer representing you. So think about this. If you should have a lawyer representing you in the contract, you should have a real estate broker representing you for all the other stuff, the inspections, the negotiations, the title. We are sometimes asked by sellers, well, if we find our own buyer, will you give us a discount? Or could we do it for free? Because we found the buyer, so the work's over, right? The work is just beginning when you find a buyer. The work is just beginning when you find a house. You have to get to contract, which is no easy thing. You have to handle a lot of different things related to title and inspection and troubleshooting the mortgage. And the greatest question I get asked by people is, well, what could go wrong?
Everything.
So much could go wrong that I don't even want to like speak it and make it manifest. I've seen instances where, for example, we had a buyer saved $300 on his attorney fee by going with an attorney that offered him a lower fee than one of the three that I would refer him to. Okay? So you ready for this? The attorney heard from the seller's attorney, and the seller's attorney basically said something to him like, we do not want to do what you have proposed. So he went back to the buyer and said, they don't want to do it. What do you want me to do? And the buyer said, well, I don't want to do that either. Can we do this? The attorney goes back to the other attorney and says, they said no. The seller's attorney goes to the seller and said, I guess the deal is dead.
Right.
It cost my client $20,000 to resurrect that deal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Where's your savings? They saved $300 on the attorney, so the net loss was $19,700.
And a lot of anxiety.
Right. The real estate commission is a line item on a HUD-1 with lots of columns and 2 or 3 pages. The net to the client is coming from a larger pie than just the real estate commission. You can think you saved 1 or 2 or 6%, whatever you want to say, by saving on a line item, and you can get your clock cleaned by having everything else not properly managed.
Even if you just carry the house for another 3-4 months, that's your mortgage payments, that's your next tax due, that's your next insurance premiums. It would eliminate any savings right there. Time is not your friend.
Time is money.
Right.
And time is not your friend, nor are a lot of other of the vagaries that go on in a transaction.
That's correct. Let's take a break. Thanks.